And I looked at him and said, you know what, Steve, you're probably right. You're right. You're right. I'm always preaching, so maybe it's not for me to start practicing what I preach. So I gathered, I had Steve gather our key leaders the next night. We got together at the local coffee shop and we started talking. And they started talking. And I shut up as the pastor. You know, pastors like to talk. This is one time I realized that Jesus said, shut up. Let me talk through him. And so I did. I sat there and listening. And by the time we got done, my brothers and sisters, they had the whole plan worked out. But the $45,000 went to $60,000. So we still didn't have a budget for $60,000. It was a good meeting that said, that's okay, Pastor. You're always telling us how God has a storehouse in heaven. I just looked at them and said, shut up. They all laughed. Week after week after that, we had a plan, a communications plan. The ladies put together a plan that was simply beautiful, efficient, and one thing after another, my brothers and sisters, one thing after another fell into place. Every need we had fell into place. We had a need, and the analysis we had to replace a heating air conditioner unit. That's like $25,000. Didn't know where that money was going to come from. We had to replace appliances, refrigerators, beds, all of that, and all of a sudden, people heard in our community what we were doing, and people started volunteering. And one of the local heating and air companies said, we'll donate to the heating and air unit. Another person who was in sales said, I've got some appliances, brand new, that I'm going to give, and one thing after another fell into place. Long story short, in about 4 months from the time that he and I had the conversation in my office, we completely rebuilt the house. And the family who lived in that house were not Christian, but became Christian. They found out why we were doing what we did, and they went to the church. They started attending the church. The man's name is Fred. The lady's name was Mary. Fred became the board of trustees here because of the action of faith of people who they did not know. People inspired, guided, equipped by Jesus Christ. Today we celebrate the 58th anniversary of the founding of the Good Samaritan Church. 58 years of ministry here in Islam. And from my vantage point as a district superintendent in the United States and a member of the Bridges Partnership team, I can tell you, I can witness to you, that you have accomplished more in 58 years than some churches in the U.S. who are over 100 years old. And I know because I have about 4 or 5 of those churches in my district. 100, 125, 150 years old. And they are still sitting in the same building that they built 150 years ago. And you, my brothers and sisters, have been so faithful. Your pastors, your bishops, your leaders have been so faithful to following the leading of the Lord. And more importantly, to begin modeling and teaching and holding you accountable for the expectation that Christ has for all of us who strive to follow Jesus. Leaders who have preached and inspired and corrected and challenged us to be more like Jesus in the same way that John Wesley led a movement marked by accountable discipleship through small things and a powerful witness to the world through ministries with the poor, just like you, that gave birth to our beloved United Methodist Church, which now spans the globe. And as a result, God has been able to give birth to churches in our God and other places through you. You partner with Stop Hunger Now to feed the hungry, to provide nutrition to the homeless in Mayo. You become a partner in the Bridges Initiative in North Georgia, and together we are learning so much from you, more than you can imagine. share with you what I think will be important for us. United Methodists in the Philippines and in the United States. Especially with the General Conference moving ahead of us in 2016. What we have to do in the next 58 years to ensure that we continue to be fit for the work of the kingdom of God. Now, I like to use the word fit, F-I-T, as a template, to provide the pattern for how I order my personal discipleship and how I tend as a pastor to order the life of the churches that I serve. Fit, F, starts first. What is first? The Bible says, seek ye first what? The kingdom of God. What is first is what you focus on. What is first that God lays on your heart that is biblical is what you discern. What you determine to be the top priority. There should be one or two or three that you say, these are the firsts of the things that we consider. No more than three. Because once you start adding on, it becomes diluted and you begin to be scattered and confused. What will be first that you focus on? Intent. Fit, F-I-T. I means intent. Everything that we do must be intentional. We bring intentionality to the table. Our intent must always be the sharing of the good news of Jesus Christ. Nothing more and nothing less. That is the intent. And finally, T. Try. F-I-T. Try. Don't be afraid to try. Don't make excuses why you didn't try. Try. All too often I see churches, and I'm a DS of churches, when I do the Charles Conference, you know this, when you look at the report, they didn't even try. They make excuses why we could not, should not, didn't have enough money. Well, I did in a church that didn't have enough money, but they were able to do it. Try. And here's the beautiful thing, if it doesn't work, forget it. Just say, that didn't work. And move on to the next thing that you pray and discern over. And over time what happens is that when God's people, pastors and laity and leaders are in prayer together, more often than not, you'll find out what it is that God has called you to do. But if you don't try, like the guy in the parable, the third one who got the, what did he do? He didn't try. He buried that one bag of gold. That asset, he figured, okay, he's not hard employer anyway, I'm not going to do anything. And what did the employer say? He's worthless. Made a judgment on him. At the end of our time here on earth, my brothers and sisters, so I believe we will all stand before God for an accounting. It's biblical. And as Christians, I believe God will ask us one question. It will not be, do you know Jesus Christ? But as a Christian, we know when we profess Christ and confess Him as our Lord and Savior, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins, as the Scriptures say. I believe God will ask us this question. What did you do with the new life I gave you? What did you do with the new life I gave you? So, my friends, how long do you want to live? In the name of the Father,